Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to OTL Racing here on Twitch for round number 6, the final round of our GT3 Championship here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. We are at Barcelona-Catalunya for what should be a very interesting evening of racing. Slightly smaller grid unfortunately tonight, but still a good roster of really good level of drivers. Should be pretty even as well throughout that mid-pack as always. Hopefully see some good fighting up front as well. Evening Johnny. Thank you very much for tuning in. Cheers for the Prime sub as well. Much appreciated. Hope you are well. So yes, we've got hopefully a good night of racing coming up. Killian on board with at the moment. They are in qualifying already. Holds a 39-point lead going into this evening, so doesn't have to do too much. I think as long as he finishes inside the top 15, I believe is the I heard the math from the drivers yesterday. So yeah, as long as he gets top 15, he will be the champion for season number 4, and he's driven superbly, so can't say that is not deserved. But yeah, looking forward to this evening. We've got Stu McLeod on pole at the moment, only 15 thousandths ahead of Joe LaCour. And like I said, it's a good level of drivers in that sort of front and mid-pack as well, so we should still see, even with a slightly smaller grid, some cracking fighting. So yeah, this evening as well, I have a guest in the commentary box. I've got a Mr. Alex Skinner. Hello Alex, how are you?
Oh, good evening Matt, and good evening everyone here on the OTL Twitch channel. It's great to be here, and it's great to actually get back in the commentary booth after such a long time. You know, been a bit of a break for me, so it's good to get back on a completely new sim for me in terms of racing, and having done the GT4s, I can already say I've been enjoying it God, words tonight, please. I've been enjoying it extremely high amounts. So again, seeing a lot of drivers that I raced against only a few days ago, actually, only on Thursday night.
Yes, indeed.
You know, seeing these guys sort of, you know, where in different places to GT4 as well, because of the nature of the cars. It's great to see, and it's great to be here in such a great community and in the commentary booth again, Matt.
No, I'm glad to have you. No, don't worry, I won't be don't want to flub your words. I won't be setting an unbelievable example anyway, so I won't be setting the bar very high. So, but I know what you mean. It's the GT4. You do see drivers who are right up the top in the GT4s, much further down in the GT3s. Like I say, just very different dynamic. It brings that field closer together, which makes the racing completely different, almost like a completely separate sport. It's the race conduct and the decision making is totally different. So you do see some crossover that are good at both. There's some drivers who are just fast in whatever you put them in. So Sharp is one of those. We've had Scott, who was I think he might have been able to start this league, but unfortunately had to drop out. Scott, he's quick in whatever you put him in. Is one of those annoying kind of drivers that just makes everybody jealous.
Just no practice and he's quick straight out of the box. Is what
and if you give him any practice, then it just gets worse. Frankly, I wouldn't mind, but he's not even on a wheel that was made like this decade. So somehow, yeah, it's if you give him good equipment as well, I mean, then we're all stuffed. So
we're screwed.
Yeah,
it'll be about 10 seconds otherwise.
But no, so I like the balance of cars in the GT3 and GT4. I think in this game is why it's so good. Different tracks, different cars. They completely depends on the driver's preference as well. One track to the next. You see someone Silverstone in the Bentley will fly around and absolutely annihilate the opposition. You put them around Laguna Seca or somewhere in that car, much harder challenge, and they aren't near the front. But you put the Porsche around Laguna Seca, it fly around, especially in someone like Sharpie's hands. So yeah, it's a good dynamic. But somewhere like we are this evening at Catalunya, I wouldn't be surprised, as we already said, to see that Porsche near the front. We're on board with Kylian Raikkonen, been on board with him for a little bit. Still need to get a valid time in, so he's clearly going a little bit wide where he doesn't want to be, and he's invalidating his times. Only driver not to set a time already, actually. Everyone else out on track apart from Loic Martin in 9th. Well, thank you very much for the resub batch with Prime, much appreciated. Hope you're doing well, man. Awesome to see you as always. And yeah, hopefully we'll see some good racing this evening. We've got quite a few drivers missing out, unfortunately, but is what it is. Can't do much about that. End of the season tonight. And there is a good fight on for the AM Class Championship, currently being led by Ashley Gledel. Sorry, I don't even know why I said it like that. Gledel. He'll kill me for that, getting his surname wrong there. It's not like he's told me a million times to get it right. So he's on 128 points in the amateur class. Just ahead of Martin Legg. That's an 11-point gap. Now in this championship, that's 3 or 4 positions. And that's not 3 or 4 positions between amateurs. That's just overall in the standings. Now, obviously, not as many positions to be lost really this evening. You can only finish 16th, so it will be harder to bridge that gap between people. We've got Pelicano just 2 points behind Martin Legg. He's on 115 to Martin Legg's 117. Magato on 114 again. He's here this evening as well. So those 4 all here tonight. So it'll be one of those 4, I think, taking the AM title. And then you said, as I've already said, Kylian Raikkonen in there in the pits as well. So not set a valid time still. So 5.5 minutes left. It's clearly something not quite comfortable there. Or he's decided to go back from last to first. If you're going to do last to first, you do it a week where there's half the amount of drivers as normal. But he could quite easily win from 16th. I won't beat about the bush there. He could probably quite comfortably win from there. But we'll have to see how he fares. Stu McLeod still holding on to pole. A beautiful black Porsche. Just over. Sorry, what's that gap? No, there we go. Yeah, sorry, my timing screen going a bit weird on my tool there. 18 thousandths of a second between Lecourt and McLeod. Kieran Sharp in 3rd. Is he on track? He is. So Kieran Sharp in the Aston Martin. Went from the Porsche from season 3. Still quick in the Aston, but I think he's a little bit faster in the Porsche. It's around, especially somewhere like here. I think I'd probably hedge my bets on him being a little bit quicker, just how good it is through the wiggly sections. So that's a technical term for them. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do. Still quite close at the front, less than half a second between the top 5. Until we see Kylian chuck a time in that's probably 7/10 or a second quicker. But he hasn't yet, so, and all the drivers on track will probably be hoping he doesn't as well at any point. We'll have a dry track all race as well. No silly weather coming in here. It's very fully Spanish, nice and hot. Beaming sunshine, 29 degrees air temperature, 34 degree track temperature. So it might be a little bit of time management, but I think they should be okay. It's a mandatory pit right in the middle of the race, 25 minutes in. It's a 10-minute pit window, so a pretty short pit window. So they'll have to change tyres, so you can probably use them pretty much to the as far as you want, and you're going to be changing them anyways. I think it's a mandatory tyre change. Now, how do you get on with these GT3s then? Have you driven much of the GT3s as opposed to the GT4s? Like you said, you've taken part in the GT4s here on OTL on a Thursday. But have you had much practice in the GT3s at all?
Yeah, I've been running a fair bit of the GT3s actually. I think it was the sort of first set of cars I took out because I saw, again, sort of picked the game up and went actually in practice with the guys before Brands Hatch. You know, I came on and did some laps with the guys. So I sort of started seeing just which GT3 I sort of preferred out of all of them, you know, sort of seeing if I preferred the Ferrari, Porsche or whatever, and sort of ended up coming to a conclusion that the Bentley's my sort of car. So,
yes.
You know, it's always helpful when you find a car that you like sort of pretty quickly. So, yeah, but it's, again, the GT3s, they're not easy by any means, you know, some of them are easier to get, obviously, quicker or to drive, but a very big pain in the rear end to get quick.
Yes.
Especially compared, you know, in a field like this with McLeod, Joe LaCour, obviously Sharpie, and people like Killian and Cormac. So it is, you know, I would not hold a candle to anyone in here, and I proved that at Brands Hatch in practice where I couldn't even get near leg.
No offense, Leg. It didn't mean that.
No offense to Legger, obviously, but again, you can still see from the times here, I would be well off the times here. So that's sort of why I just decided, you know what, I'm going to sit in the commentary booth and sulk for a day instead of sit on the track and get lapped about times in 20 minutes.
That's generally how a commentator's career starts. I think that's how that's sort of how I ended up here. Partly no one else wanted to do it, and partly I was okay. I was driving wise. Don't have a wheel controllers. Most project cars do stuff like that. Was pretty quick. But you get commentating a bit and you stop racing, stop having any practice, and any racecraft you had, the speed at which it vanishes is just unbelievable. So, yeah, if you want to be driving quick, don't be doing it too much because it's I think it's one or the other. I very much think you've got to, if you want to be quick, you've got to try and stay practicing. Doesn't happen easily. Well, Kieran Sharp, staying on board with here, yes, currently on pole. Again, not by much though, he's only improved by about a tenth. Kilian Raiminen has put a time in. Let's go with him again. So he's just starting another lap, 4 seconds off. So we're talking sort of token lap really there. Again, unless he's trying to start from the back, which I wouldn't put past him. But we'll see. Currently, at the moment, unbelievable. Top 4, less than a tenth between them. Probably the closest I have seen that all season. Maybe they might have been that close all season, but with Kilian 1.2 ahead at the top, and so it didn't look quite as flashy. But we've still got Rob Lovelace. Let's go on board with him for a little bit. I haven't been able to watch him too much this season. In the Bentley, so yeah, a car that Alex and I think many others really like how it handles. It's one of those things. GT3 cars, not the hardest car to drive in real life. You know, they have like people. You get a lot of people in sim racing complaining the GT3, you know, too easy to drive with assist. So they have ABS and traction control in real life. So you are they're not as, you know, demonically difficult to keep on track as some people would like to think. But although some cars like the Porsche, I think fun to drive, but to drive quick. If you overdrive, will absolutely murder you. Yeah, you need a lot of skill for that. You get someone further back, and you've still got to really be on it to not make those mistakes. That, especially in an hour-long race where it's quite close, you know, if you spin a couple of times, you're losing huge amounts of time on track. So it's about that consistency of the pace as much as anything else. Even in Zvonimir, even him, or just quickly looking at the chat, the Bat should be racing, but recovering from a sprained bicep and birthday celebrations. And hopefully not combined, I hope you didn't get one strain a bicep while celebrating, just too much beer fall over, and not a man of your race shouldn't be doing that, Debatch.
Top of the timesheets as well.
There we go. Yes,
first lap that he has actually done.
Yeah, it didn't take long.
8 tenths faster than Sharpie in that lap of 43.2 compared to Sharpie's 44.0.
Some things predictable, aren't they? It's like death taxes, and Killian probably setting a pole up by about a second.
There are 4 certainties in life. Yeah. 3 certainties: death, taxes, and Killian Ryan being at the top of the timing sheets.
It's it'd be interesting if Sharpie was in the Porsche. I think he'd be a bit closer. But I mean, I've been watching Killian for a fair bit in different leagues around the sim racing communities, and he's fast. So I mean, that's not, we can't go always in the quicker car. He's just really fast. He said we've got his brother Cormac in 10th, and I think he'll pick up the pace and push up a little bit higher still. Let's go on board with Mattia Brugnara. I don't know how badly I'm butchering his name. I can only imagine. Raced with us for quite a long time. A lot of Project Cars 2 leagues. His name on there being Panda. He's racing in lots of leagues actually in really predominant racing communities, and always been one of the quickest. Always been in like pro tiers of community leagues. So yeah, he's transferred very well over to ACC. Been pretty competitive all season long. He currently stands, I believe, 3rd in the championship. So actually, yeah, really, really superb. He's had a couple of podiums. All 5 finishes have been top 10. Which is easier said than done. You'd think it would be easy to be top 10 if you quit. Really isn't. You make mistakes, you pay for them very, very badly. Let's go on board actually with Joe LaCour. Qualifying is all but over. Checker flag is already out. We've only got 30 seconds left for drivers to start finishing their laps. Come around the final corner. Joe needs to improve only by a few thousandths to get ahead of McLeod. Well, not even much more to get above Sharpie and Brugnara, but he does beat McLeod into 4th. McLeod down to 5th position. And I think apart from Cormac Ryan, who is about to come over the line, and he did not improve by the looks of things, so he stays down in 11th. But like I said, that's a very, very packed, very tight grid there, I think. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how they fare in the race for sure. This sort of track, you need consistency to how they deal will only remain to be seen. But look at that, Kelly and Ryan, the 3 fastest splits on track. First, second and third all belonging to him. So yeah, it took a while to get his a good lap in, but when he did, he made it count, as Killian generally does. And yeah, about 8 tenths clear, so fair play to him. So evening Fish, evening Hydromantis, evening Frank, nice to see you all, hope you're doing well. So yeah, let's see. So I would really, Killian, if he's on it in this race, I think he's going to be very, very, very hard to beat. If anything like that pace he's just shown in qualifying, it's his win to lose, his race to lose rather. There we go, contagious. But yeah, we'll have to see how he does. Sharpie's not going to let him get away very easily. And Hydromantis, yeah, Mr. A Pike down in 10th, Mr. Fish. The smart ones of you there will be able to work out why his username is what it is. Pleases me a great deal, I will say. Evening Fernandez, evening. Go Pelicano. Oh, we've got an Anthony Pelicano fan, so he's down in 9th. But like I said, that's a pretty good start, I think. So he's actually the first on the grid in the amateur class. Yeah, quite comfortably as well. Loic Martin in 12th is the next. So he's got 2 pro drivers behind him with Andrew Pike and Cormac Ryan Meanis. That's a cracking showing in qualifying.
I was going to say as well, actually, the 2 main protagonists in the AM Championship, Matt, side by side on the grid.
Yes,
Ash and Martin Legg, both going to be on that second to last row of the grid. Now, so that's going to be interesting then, into what's turn one between the 2.
I don't know if you can see the stream chat, Alex, but Lega has the stream open while he's on track, and so he just posted a minute ago, I heard that, Alex. So he's been waiting probably 10-15 minutes to get that out. But
yeah,
evening Leg.
I'm going to be in trouble when this stream finishes.
More than usual as well. Yeah, it's terrible. Sometimes your mouth gets you into those sort of situations. It's not good.
I'll just hide. I'll just hide at the end of this. I'll just go silent for a few days and hide.
So where's Alex gone? I don't know. Very, very, very quiet since Sunday. Very weird.
He did that broadcast. He just suddenly vanished.
Yeah, I thought it went all right, but I don't know. He must have been a bit unhappy about it. I don't know. You'll see that Andrew Pike put in the. You can see he's comfortable with this track in the game chat. Preemptive F in chat. So yeah, his practice was clearly going well a little bit earlier, but we'll have to hopefully have a good evening of it. Now, can I get into the? How do I? Is it going to let me get into the?
Yes, it should do.
No, not. There we go. Oh, that's about the longest it's ever taken to let me click drive. Right. Anyways, let's change the camera because we're staring at a bridge. Nope, still staring at a bridge. Oh, that's a dreadful camera shot. Never mind. Catalunya is your home, apparently. Catalunya is definitely your home. That's advertising they haven't paid for, and I'm furious about the fact. No, it's 2 commentators. I know. Yes, 2. Yeah. Hydromantis. Yes, 2 commentators. You say what is this professionalism? I wouldn't go that far. There are 2 of us here. But let's just leave it. Leave it at that.
Sharpie needed a bit of a wake-up call, I think.
Yeah, Sharpie, could you
sat there for
get a move on, sunshine?
For about 30 seconds longer than he needed to.
Yes, that's Sharpie's attitude to exercise. It's like, do I have to go now? Fine. You've got to catch the man off a front. Sorry, Sharpie. Evening, Dan. Mr. Merchant. Hope you're right, dude. Thanks for the follow. It's appreciated. Hope you are doing well. So yeah, long old formation like this. And
I think this track naturally, I feel suits the Porsche. Is gonna as much as it suits the Porsche, especially in that final sector, in the whole of that first sector as well. It's going to be rather, a bit tricky because that car doesn't like to rotate under throttle, from what I've noticed, at least from my driving of it. So again, everything I say take with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah,
it doesn't seem to like to rotate under the throttle. It really likes to rotate when you're just coasting through and actually getting that car turned in. It even actually turns it under the on the brakes, so it's actually quite nice to trail brake through. So through that whole, through turn 3, that car's going to be wanting to push itself off, just push itself wider. Whereas that Aston really likes to rotate on the throttle. It's the same with the V12 Aston, actually, the older Aston. They both really like to rotate on the throttle. So it'll be interesting to see what Sharpie can do through that whole first sector on the first lap, because whilst, especially on colder tyres, Killian's going to be trying just to get that car to at least rotate the first couple of corners. Sharpie's going to be able to be on the power, really aggressive straight away. So maybe we'll be able to see a move made through turn 3 and up into turn 4. But hopefully we don't get a sort of Mercedes-esque incident between the top 2 in the championship.
No, I think
the top drivers in the championship.
I think they'll be kept honest. I think there's enough pace there. Like you say, it's going to be all about that start. How does Killian drive that first half a lap to a lap? Did you get comfortable with the car, get the tyres warm, get the brakes warm, more importantly, get round to that last sector of the lap where it'll be nice and comfortable, you would think. They just come round up to the hairpins. Splendid looking track. Looks great on this game, as do all the tracks, frankly. Did an unbelievable job, and it's one of those tracks I enjoy driving, but absolute pants if you watch it on telly. So I enjoyed taking part in races around here. I think it's a good challenge. But yeah, just coming around to the last sector now, so they'll be forming up in a couple of corners' time. Evening, Mr. Smudge. Hope you're doing well, dude. But yeah, we've got a few Pelicano fans in, a few Mr. Fish fans in, a lot for the Xbox contingent, wanting their man to win it. So they'll need to let Killian back through a bit. I mean, yeah,
He kind of did hit the brakes rather hard and rather fast.
I think he's very much realised he wants those brakes warmed up a bit sharpish before he gets to turn number 1. Doesn't want to get down to cold brakes. Like I said, it's close enough pack that you make a mistake, you'll be... I mean, even slightly further into the race, it will you'll pay pretty big cost for it. So they're all coming round now in towards the final corner. So Killian, that blast down to turn number 1, it's going to be most important for him. So Sharpie will do his best to try and get as far forward as he can without the game shouting at him, telling him to slow down. Needs to really...
Don't want to repeat it for
it's got 3 drive-throughs for the top 3, which is astonishing. And there we go, they are off. No drive-throughs. That's all I wanted to see. So yeah, Killian's got an absolutely wonderful start there. We've got
Matt from Joe in the back as well. He actually has managed to make it 4 wide coming towards turn 1. But he might actually get a double on the outside of turn 1.
Don't say outside. Oh dear. So he's got a little wiggle.
Wide. Alexis is off as well.
Yeah, that's Brugnara. That was Brugnara off into the barrier. So that's Killian. Like I said, making the mistake at the beginning when all the cars are so close. So he's down in what now? You can see once the time board updates, the good old ACC timing boards.
8th place with that mistake, Matt. And I think that was more a case of avoiding action, as that is one of the Ferraris going around. That looks to be Sedgley going around.
Yes, that is.
He's got to make it rejoin safely, and that looks like Loic Martin's gone round as well in the Audi there. It's just small little mistakes coming out, and that's already actually put Killian back into the top 5, Matt.
Yeah, no, so he's a couple of other drivers making mistakes. He's obviously trying to push forward as quickly as possible, get that car moving forward in the right direction really early. Do not want to be taking too long to get past those cars in that rear to mid pack. As I said, smaller grid tonight, so it's not as difficult as when there are, say, 30 of them here. But he's next to his brother on track. Cormac just behind him, not by much as well, but that has put Kieran Sharp up in the lead. Always good when I get delayed notification for an alert. But there we go. Crikey, that was. Is that another account merchant? Thank you very much for the follow. Same person. That's That's. I wonder what that was. I was like, hang on a minute. He said something about 5 minutes ago. So Sharpie in the lead by a whole second. We've got few little tangles on the first lap. Brugnara and Loic Martin at the back of the pack. Got Sedgley had that little off, but not quite as bad. He's only about a second and a half back off the pack.
I was going to say, Matt, Joe Lacour just made a slight mistake coming through that final chicane as well. It's allowed Janos Wenzel right onto the back of him coming towards turn 1. He's going to look to the left in the Lexus on the outside of the Audi through turn 1. That's not going to work. Cormac Moraimini is just going to be looking. He's not going to really want to try and make too many inroads because he knows that if he tries to do anything, there is a big risk he doesn't really need to take here in the final.
I think he'll be taking it
he could
anyways.
just afford to sort of sit here and let them, you know, fight out in front of them.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be going for that move early. I've seen them drive as much as I have. I think, yeah, he's already gone for that move. He's already made it stick. As you can see, he wasn't going to be hanging around there for too long. Janos, quick driver, and but yeah, Killian's not going to hang around. He's going to be pushing hard now. He needs to make sure that Kieran and Stu at the front don't really make too many inroads and get too much of a lead. But it's still, you know, 5th position, not too bad for Janos. Killian now up to 4th. Joe LaCour, McLeod and Sharp, those top 3 are going to be hard to keep up with. But yeah, still 57 minutes. Only 3 minutes gone of this race, although all the action already happened. But I think we've got a lot to keep up with this evening. But that Porsche still making good inroads. Like I said, it's a strong car, especially with those who are so comfortable with using it. So Kieran Sharp used it in season 3 to good acclaim. He won a couple of races. We've got a little bit of dust being kicked up there, though. Hopefully everything is clean. I think it was just a little bit of a wider run than they were hoping for out of the exit. Kieran Sharp doing well at the front here. Got a lead of just nearly about a second over Stu, but Stu in pursuit, not letting him get away by too much. That Porsche in 2nd and 4th. 2 of the 3 Porsches on the grid, the other back in 12th with Sebastian Magateau. But yeah, interesting start. Bit of a few mistakes we saw there, a few spins. I wonder if they were people's own mistakes or if they were just a few taps, a few bits of contact here from cars being just so close to each other at the start. But yeah, it has to be expected sometimes. Racing is racing, you know. We'd love it to all be clean all of the time, but unfortunately isn't quite the way as Alex will know all too well as well. It's the amount of stewarding you do, Alex. It's the kind of there'll always be a job for stewards in motorsport. No matter what series. Yes, sometimes it's clean. Sometimes there's less of a job to do, but there's always going to be a job. So actually, you can see that. Yeah, Stu only half a second back now, about 4:10. So he's closing in nicely there. So Kieran Sharp, I think he's going to struggle to really pull away from Stu. I think Killian as well. Give it another 3 or 4 laps. He's going to try to have been past Joe LaCour. Let's get on board with them. So yeah, Killian now up to the back of LaCour, as we were talking about earlier as well, by the way. Pellicano in 7th, so highest amateur class driver. Still 2 places ahead of the other 2 amateurs. Actually, it's the same, pretty much the same. Leg and Gledel in 10th and 11th. I think they've swapped those, so Leg in the front of Gledel, but yeah, Leg will be desperate for possible amateur win. He's driven pretty well in this championship, had some good results, been unfortunately impacted by a few incidents with other drivers, but he has actually also served a qualifying ban, so it hasn't been all goody two-shoes from him, but it all happens, you know. We're all admins, myself included, if I race, we all, you know, have to be the rules applied equally to everybody, no matter what.
We all have to behave regardless.
Yeah, but that's my way of thinking. If I don't drive, they can't penalise me. Saying that, if Sharpie was here, there is a clip on our YouTube and it's called Matt Punts Everybody, and it's when I raced a while back on Xbox filling in, and I did tap someone round, but I was a good boy and I waited, so I let them. I did the right thing. I followed the rules, but I did.
I mean, that rule is actually heavily disputed at the moment, Matt, and that's
yes,
we've actually been speaking about in the panel as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it's obviously not something you'll ever see in real life. Sorry, that was my fault. Wait, I'll wait for you. It's a weird one. You see in a lot of sim racing communities. It's something I've been thinking about recently as well, actually, and it's one of those odd rules where you're thinking, is that just going to cause more problems than it helps? Do you know what I mean? It can actually, maybe it's just better to just get people to carry on and then just adjudicate afterwards. So yeah, that is something that's been discussed. So it might be something that gets a change in the rules. I definitely wouldn't be against us doing that. So yes, Hydro Mantis popping up in the chat, and I suspected you would, Hydro, because if you didn't notice, Alex, he's the person I punted in the Xbox race. So yeah, Matt, I don't remember you punting someone on Xbox. Yeah, so I think he's been sarcastic there a little bit, because I can guarantee you he definitely remembers. It wasn't bad. It was the tiniest tap, by the way. It was the tiniest tap.
You'll never forget. Lega will never let me live down the GT4 punt on Thursday.
No, yes. I will mention, by the way, Sharpie had that clipped and posted in Discord within about a minute of it happening. So my humiliation was absolutely high on his priorities at the time. So fair play to him. I think it's the same
with all of us, though, that have any sort of respect or power in this
place.
Is that we all get sort of the not bully, but we all
or if you know Sharpie, generally you'll do that to anybody, frankly. So that's fine. He wasn't singling me out, so I'm perfectly fine with that. So I won't complain. But yeah, look at this front 4. very, very close. A little bit of a gap now between Stu and Joe, but yeah, not too much. Only 4/10. Stu coming out wide. And look at Kieran, but nothing doing there into turn 1. Killian now onto the back of this train, so going to have held him up a little bit. His usual, 8/10 to a second quicker than everybody else, sort of race pace, following his qualifying pace.
Having a look a bit further
Can't
down
use
the
it.
order, Matt.
Yeah, go for it.
That fight for what is 7th place. It's with GTM leader Anthony Pellicano. He's actually sort of with Pike, Pike, Cormac Ryan, he's actually just defending from him at the moment. But of course, you have got the two, you have got Martin Legg in that group as well. As Gleidel's actually dropped off the back of this train a bit, Matt. So what I find sort of kind of interesting right now is that these guys are, really kind of just pushing themselves to try and sort of, fight each other, it seems, and they're sort of not really working together to try and catch up to the back of the guys in front, which could really pay off, especially if something does go wrong.
No, I think it's...
Or when we get towards that...
Sorry, I was going to say, I think it's though kind of, they know, this group, it's knowing their pace. I think the top 6, I think there are definitely people in this shot now, or on Helicam at the moment, where you could actually certainly be further up in the top 6 at the moment, but once you're in that road position, hard to make something of it. It was Cormac goes up the inside of Pellicano, but that's going to allow Pike through as well, so he might lose 2 spots here. Pellicano coming back towards Sedgley.
More than that as well, Matt, because Pellicano's now got Sedgley on the outside, but Sedgley's got Sebastian Magato on the inside. So Magato's going to go by on that bright green Ferrari. Martin Legg's having a look as well, just trying to get any bit of track that he can to get past that very, very beautifully bright green Ferrari in front of him. Again, that Ferrari, it's got some legs on it, but well, not as long a legs as Martin Legg himself. We'll see what he can do to get past in the next few laps. But again, sort of just looking back at the front, that fight between McLeod and Killian Ryan Meenan, that is getting very close. And I think Killian might have a look up into turn 4, because he is right on the back of that, the rear wing of that second Porsche. And Sharpie's probably looking in his mirrors, Matt, and going, well, settle into a race and I might be able to pull away from this lot.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, you want to do that. Especially if, like you say, if you're seeing Ryan Meenan and McLeod getting quite close, that's the time you want to push. You need to just, if they're losing just a 10th here or a 10th there, and that will make the difference, especially with someone like Killian. You want him to take advantage if he is being held up. But Stu he's no slouch, and he's not defending really from Killian quite yet. He said certain sections he's maybe coming across to that inside line, just trying to cover off any wide open door that Killian might want to try and charge through. But he's about equidistant at the moment between there's McLeod between Killian and Kieran Sharp. He says Joe LaCour just a little bit off the back at the moment, about a second behind Killian. You just see him at the back of the TV shot a few times there. And then another 1.5 seconds back to Jonas Wenzel with Loveless, and then you've got that 8.5 second gap back to that train we were watching just a second ago. But yeah, these front 3 at the moment in the race all very nicely close and compact. So yeah, we've got only just 10 minutes into this race, so very early doors still. We have another 15 minutes until the pit window opens. And obviously a small pit window just to keep things a little bit closer rather than really out of kilter. Obviously, I think we've tried that a couple of times. Now saying that, Stu McLeod having a look down the inside, or just have to lift off there. Maybe slightly ambitious, go from that far back, but just about gets out of it. Doesn't cause any issues there. Has been in trouble with the stewards on a couple of occasions this season for a few optimistic looks from that far back, but it might have hampered himself a little bit there from that attacking driving. Killian now all over the back of him, so the fight the Porsches for that second spot is still alive, and Sharpie will just be hoping they will fight with each other a little bit harder, because they are not letting him go.
I think that's the case, or maybe Sharpie's potentially saving his tyres. Not really as much as he wants to pull away. He might just be thinking, maybe with these guys fighting so much and then really keeping each other honest, I might be able to just save my tyres just a slight bit. He's been running sort of low 45s, high 44s, and so that's sort of what everyone else behind him has been doing, sort of like mid 44s. So his pace does seem a bit slower at the moment. Meanwhile, McLeod looks to the outside, going into the hairpin. Not going to make it work on the outside there, but there's Killian having a look to the inside. He's going to be on the inside here, but it's going to switch right back, and he's actually going to get through. So great move by Killian Ryan Meenan to get past Stu McLeod, and he's now going to be looking at the back of that very bright orange Aston Martin in front of him. And well, how many place your bets? How many laps is it going to take, Matt?
Yeah, this is. I want to be supportive of Sharpie here, but he's not really helped himself here. I think he might be in trouble coming down to turn 1 there because he went pretty long. You see, yeah, he's gone defensive very, very early there, all the way over to the inside. But he knew he had a poor drive out of that tight, twisty stadium section at the end of the previous lap. He went too long into the chicane, and he's hampered himself a little bit. But yeah, good defensive driving there. Good racecraft as Kieran. Very solid driver. Lots of racecraft and knowledge, so he knows what to do in that situation. Don't leave a gap on the inside. Move over. Stop them coming past on the inside. You can leave them a gap on the outside, frankly. If they can do it round there, then they're just going so much quicker than you anyways. Let them round. Old triple drive. Evening. Yeah, no, it's unfortunate you couldn't make it, but yeah, not a problem, dude. It's been good watching you. It's last season and a bit, so yeah, hopefully we'll see you in next season. It's been some good racing. A smaller grid tonight, like I say, but some plenty of good racing to watch still. But yes, with that mid train we saw earlier spread out a little bit. A lot of 1 second gaps there between what was that, about 7th and 12th. So they've all spread out just a little bit, but 10 minutes to that first pit window. But these top 3 still very close. Joe LaCour still only just under a second behind, and actually, so who's that in the background? So that's Wenzel and Loveless. So actually, these guys fighting. LaCour hasn't really caught that pack up yet, but I didn't realise quite how close 5th and 6th were. Not as far back as I thought they were at all. Let's go back on board with them briefly, and I'll look forward from Jonas Wenzel's car. So you can see that's Joe LaCour in front, and then look, the lead 3 not far in front at all. So you're looking
only about 3
yeah,
seconds back.
that's
So
not bad.
Any mistakes or anyone tripping up over each other, and everyone from which might even catch Joe out, because again, with how close he is, those 2 behind are really going to pounce as Sharpie goes defensive once again, and Killian just tucks in that slipstream. I think he's probably going to wait for that pit window, Matt.
You know what? I like your optimism, but I'm not sure he'll have the patience to wait for 10 minutes. I think he'll have a move. You can see Sharpie's having to drive defensively now, but that Aston just hasn't got obviously you've got the different characteristics of the cars, but I think that Porsche, he's going to have to cover every possible move off against Killian and not leave him any room, because if he does, or he makes any mistakes at all, Killian will go for it. If there's an apex to be hit that Sharpie leaves a big wide door near, then he's going to have a go. Killian trying to go the outside there, having a bit of a look round there as well, Stu McLeod, but doesn't go for it. You can see how close though Killian is coming around outside that corner. He's just going to try and get the axle alongside.
As well, Matt.
Joe LaCour catching up very quickly. Killian, so thought he was going to have a look up the inside. I thought he was going to stick that there. Hasn't gone for that, but look, train of 4 again. These guys, if these becomes a 4 and these guys start fighting, Jonas Wenzel and Rob Lovelace will catch these guys within a couple of laps. You can see they're not that far off already. They have caught up pretty quickly. So this could be quite soon a 6-way fight. It all depends on how hard Sharpie can defend here. He struggles in this last sector. You can see how much harder he drives.
Killian got very, very loose on the exit there, Matt. It's just allowed a tiny bit of breathing room, and that's all that Sharpie will really need coming into this, final complex of corners. It is now a 5-way fight for the race lead, of course, because Wenzel has caught up to this train. He's only about, half a second back off of Joe LaCour now, as they're going to come out of the final corner. That Porsche is going to be looking very, very feisty. Sharpie's going to come out. He's going to go as far to the right as he dare. Block that inside line off, and he's going to go, well, if you want to go past, you've got to go on the grass, sunshine. Yeah. And Killian is just going to go, no, I'll sit behind you for now. Joe's having a little look. He's just seeing, how far in front these guys are. And I think the more that these guys fight, the more they wear those tyres, the more chance of mistake there is. You've seen every single one of these top 4 make just some sort of mistake, whether the rear ends come out a bit too much on throttle, or whether they've got a bit too deep under braking. It's showing that they're all cracking ever so slightly, and I think that's just giving each other a mental advantage. You see here Killian slightly deep through turn 4, and that is all that Sharpie will need to know that he's got that little bit of a mental advantage. He knows he can just stick the car where he wants, and Killian's going to either go slightly deep, or he's not going to be able to actually really pressure him. And what you were saying there, Matt, you thought that he was going to make the move here. If you make the move here, you're really compromising yourself on the exit, and especially for the fast right-hander following. So it's just better to sit back, sort yourself out, and then get a run coming into the hairpin.
I think I was more surprised it looked like he was going so far alongside, so deep before the corner. I was surprised that he'd almost hampered himself so much to for that section of corners. Oh dear, you can see that is turning into that's a long train very quickly. Big bit of sausage grab there for the Porsche. Handled it quite well though, actually. I thought he was in a lot of trouble there, cocking the leg up like he did, but yeah, he seemed to be okay. These three still having that gap between McLeod and Joe LaCour. It's just stretched out again a little bit. Oh, Sharpie getting quite squirrely there, getting a bit loose. And that's the danger here. He's going to, any slight mistake, any slight poor exit, it's just going to hamper him so badly. You can see that Aston isn't as strong around this last sector. So Sharpie is generally taking the same line down this straight every lap. You can see he's a bit more confident though this time. As soon as he sees that slipstream working effect, though, he might move over. No, he's plenty of space. I don't think Killian, even from that far back, I think Killian is actually undergone the defensive himself, trying to keep Stu behind. That Porsche on Porsche battle for second and third. Again, those two fight. Kieran will just pull away a little gap. Joe LaCour will become part of that battle as well. So someone like Rob Lovelace in sixth. He doesn't have to look far ahead to see the race leader, and that's always good for morale. You don't feel you're driving too badly. Killian going very wide there, forcing Sharpie to go for that very narrow line. I think it's going to give him the opportunity he needs.
Beautiful.
Yeah, superb driving.
Absolutely beautiful.
Great racecraft, and knew what he was doing there, didn't he? Just forced Kieran into that defensive move, the corner before. Knew full well that was going to hamper the drive through the corner. The exit was going to be compromised, and yeah, I mean, look at that. He's already got quite a gap already in a couple of corners later, probably a good 3/4 of a second there, and could see Killian disappear now after he's made his way to the lead. Only 6 minutes to that pit box, but yeah, great bit of racecraft there. I think he set that up quite a few, well, probably laps and laps ahead, just keeping Sharpie on his toes so hard, and yeah, the move being made there, and it's a superb bit of driving. Joe LaCour looking down the inside of Stu, didn't make it stick there.
Though.
Yeah,
he's got to be careful because he's got that
Jonas,
Janus Wenzel right behind him as well. But no, back to what you were saying, he has been setting that up a lot. He's been able to see that any time that Kieran's had to go defensive there, that Aston is just sort of washed wide ever so slightly. You know, not majorly, but just enough that if he can get a cutback, he can sort of bully his way to the inside. And, well, it's exactly what he did. And Sharpie, I think, just got a bit long on the brakes as well. Just maybe broke, what, 10 meters a bit too late. And just the car, again, just doesn't want to rotate when you're braking that late again. So he's already got a 1.9 second gap.
Scary,
so in
isn't
the
it?
space of half a lap, he's pulled almost 2 seconds.
And that was why they were trying to keep him behind. That is why they were trying to stop him from moving in front. Because the problem now they'll just be fighting amongst themselves. I mean, they'll know at this point Killian's probably gone. Frankly, if he's
just reset and
I'm not catching him. I'll go for second, because if you try and push too hard and try and push too quick, you're going to spin. You'll just end up flying backwards, because even though this pack are a fair bit ahead of that mid to rear pack, they're not that far back. You have a decent sized spin, you are still going to end up back in 8th, 9th, 10th very quickly. But yeah, still some good fighting here. It's that second back to 6th, still very close. No more than half a second, so maybe 8/10 I think between each car. But yeah, Sharp now having McLeod on his tails, as they were slightly earlier in the race. But that was how important, when we were saying at the start about how important it is to, when you know you've got someone as quick as Killian, that you want to keep them behind. You want to at least keep them busy and keep them occupied, because if you don't, this happens. And he's 2.7 seconds clear. It's been a lap and a bit, a quarter lap and a half now.
A lap now.
Yeah. So 2.7 seconds already. I don't think that's all because of these two fighting in second and third. I think that's largely down to pace, frankly. I mean, the last lap for Killian was his best lap. It was a 44.2.
AM title leader's gone.
Go for
AM
it.
Title leader has made a big mistake, I've just noticed.
Big oof. No, thanks for spotting that. No, so he's down in 9th. Still leading. I think
he's down in 15th now.
Oh, is he? Oh, good. This is the dreaded...
only 3 places, 4 places now. He's actually down to last, because Cormac Ryan Meenan has left.
Yes, Cormac's gone now, unfortunately.
But that is not going to do too much to the title standings again, as you said, Matt. 7 positions.
There we go.
Needed.
Oh, and that's a big gap.
Leg needs to gain another 4 places.
I didn't quite
to
catch
have
it.
any chance of taking the title home today in the AM class. But it is still possible. Again, we've still got just under 40 minutes to go. So anything is still possible. But a very rare mistake from Ashley Baylor as well. Meanwhile, Sharpie holding that inside line as McLeod tries to have a look. And I think McLeod might be trying to set something up here, Matt.
Just having a quick look here. So it's an 8-point gap between 11th and 15th if they finished where they are at the moment, between Gledel and Martin Legg. So Needs a couple more. Just I think, well, one more position, maybe a couple more positions than that, but it's still close.
Wow.
Yeah, and Gledall, I mean, that's the perk for Gledall with there not being a larger grid. Obviously, he's had a large off. Tried to watch a replay there, but didn't quite catch it, unfortunately. Didn't go back far enough. But we saw where he was off. He was well off onto the gravel. Whether it was a crash of his own making or if it was with someone else, I do not know, unfortunately. I think it was himself. I don't believe on my feed.
See either. I didn't see.
No, on my feed it doesn't say there's been an accident with that car number, so it looks like he's just had an off, unfortunately for him. And he's some way back
was
now.
running really solid. Actually, was literally on the back of Martin Legg as well. That on the back of that Mercedes, and McLaren looks really, really solid here, and just seems that it's maybe a bit of a handful at the moment with the temperatures again. And it's 27 degrees Celsius, so not the warmest of temperatures here at the Circuit de Catalunya. Of course, going back up to the fight for second, that Porsche is nice in that slipstream, and it's just you just look back on the helicam from Sharpie, and it's just a train behind him now. It's all just these guys, it's all just trying to catch up. Dude, all the rear end coming out very, very, very squirrely there. And I think that track is just getting a slightly bit slidey now up there, Matt.
Yeah, you can see it was at 7:30 in the evening, so the track has cooled. I mean, quite considerably. The track is 7 degrees cooler than it was at the start. It was, the air temperature a fair bit different, but the track was 34, I believe, at the start. 27 degrees now. So yeah, we'll have cooled a fair bit. The sun's going down, and they do have to be mindful of those sort of things, those sort of dynamics. You do have to take into account that maybe you can't just keep driving the same every lap and expect it to handle the same. Your tyres will have worn. Oh yeah, but
4.6 second gap.
I'm definitely not that. Never will be. So unfortunately, yeah, we have to. We do have to. I'm not sure. I'm just going back to the chat. Yeah, Hydro. It's a one stop, mandatory stop. That actually opens in 55 seconds time. It's 10 minutes. So from 25 minutes into 35 minutes in. So it'll be when 35 minutes are on the clock at the top. They'll have 10 minutes to make a pit stop. It'll be a mandatory tyre change in that, so it will change anyways. So you'll be in the pits for 30 seconds. So yeah, they won't have to worry too much about tyre wear. Daniel, is it really slippy on this in high temps like iRacing, or do you get grip? See, now this is something where if I drove more, I'd know.
I mean, it's not necessarily slidey. It does grip. You do notice it, but again, it depends on the pressure. It depends on how you set the car. Again, you can set the car up for these temps and still have plenty of grip, but again, it does vary on the setup. It does vary on the pressures and how you set the car up. But it can be quite slidey in quite high temperatures. Very slidey in high temperatures if the car's not set up, but it's still easily catchable. It's still easy to at least get the car turned in, pitched in. So it's not as lethal as iRacing, I wouldn't say, but I'd say it's. Meanwhile, just seen Stu is just going slightly wider out of turn 2, and it's just more little mistakes. He's just dropping off the back of Sharpie, and Brugnara is in the pit lane as the pit window is open, so is Loic Martin. So these guys electing to get their stops done as soon as the pit window opens. And I think Ashley Gladell's coming in as well, the AM leader. So it'll be interesting to see what the strategy plays out at the front now, Matt. As that is Janos Wenzel on the inside of Joe Lecourt. He's going to get the move done. Yes, he will. Will Joe be able to fight back? So he's going to be on the outside line, but no, he's going to have to sit there. Maybe look for a run down into the hairpin.
Well, thanks very much for that host, AJ, as well. Just saw that pop up. Much appreciated. Yeah, evening, Jay Higg. It's some good racing here. It's when you see sometimes you see a small grid, you think, oh no, that's going to be a bit spaced out. How invariably you end up with some cracking racing. Just seems to happen like that. So even on Xbox, we have small grids on Project Cars too, 10, 12, 13, sometimes in Clio's. And those leagues are unbelievable, just close. Again, that's all. It's all about where the drivers are, who the drivers you have. If they're all that equal, and they're also well matched, then frankly you can have some unbelievable racing. It's superb to watch, superb to commentate on. So yeah, enjoying this. Yeah, 6 seconds clear. I mean, a lot of them pitting as well. So Joe Lecourt coming in. He's following Jonas Wenzel. That is Stu McLeod as well. So Sharp stays out on track. He'll disappear off into the distance. He'll have to push now. He'll just be breathing a sigh of relief. First time in 25 minutes. He hasn't been fighting a car from the back and trying to keep a car behind him. So just a little bit of time off for him. A little bit of a breather.
Fighting the pit stops now though, because of course,
yes,
one small mistake when stopping for your pit box and it could all be over.
Yes.
Do I see anyone getting moved back in their box?
Let's watch Joe.
Everyone's hit the marks perfectly.
Let's watch Joe. So he stops. Does his car move much? Or did it go straight up on the jacks?
That went straight up on the jack,
Yeah,
so he nailed that entry as well. So
I mean, you can lose
absolutely beautiful.
huge amounts of time in getting that wrong. You can sit there for seconds, and when you're that close, yeah, you're losing 4, 5, 6 positions like without even blinking.
Yeah, like in a snap of the fingers.
Yes.
You know, sort of.
But look at this.
Thing.
Kieran Sharp with a bit of breathing space. Like I said, first time in 25 minutes he's had any breathing space because he's been fighting in front and behind the entire time, superbly as well. He's been doing what he can in that Aston. I said, I feel that his driving style and how skilled he is, I think the Porsche suits him. I think he's able to get a lot out of it, like Killian is as well. It's been interesting to see him pick a different car. I think he nearly went for the AMG, but went for the Aston instead.
Interesting.
So yeah, it was one of those jobs I think where it was getting right up to the start of the season and it was like flip of a coin. I thought he was going to AMG, so when he turned up in the Aston, it was a bit of a surprise. But I mean, like I said, he's quick whatever you put him in, frankly. But I feel the Porsche probably suits his driving style a bit more. It's one of those twitchy cars that you need the skill to really get the pace out of, and I think he does it really, really well. And that is him coming into the pits. Thought he was going to slam it into the pit wall there for a second, but
he looked very close indeed there.
He'll get that pit entry spot on as well.
Just to note, Matt,
yeah,
is that Joe Lacour jumped Venzo in the pit stops, so he managed to get back past the Lexus during the stops. Loveless is in as well, so actually Loveless might have a shot at jumping Sharpie here if Sharpie doesn't get this right. I'm going to keep an eye on if Sharpie manages to stop in his box exactly. Just pulling in now, hits the brakes. And I believe he managed to do it absolutely perfectly, Matt.
Lovely. Yeah, they're all pretty good. This is one of those games. I hate saying the game, but it's, you know, they are games. It's a game that takes practice and pays best dividends for the good practice put in. Like you said, it's setup dependent. You've got to put the practice in. Sometimes it depends on the track that week. It doesn't suit your car as much as the week before. It's again, that's why I love ACC. It's fascinating like that. It's not like everyone's just going to pick the one car or the two cars that's just going to slaughter everybody else. But I mean, if you get quick drivers, they're gonna fly away in the distance anyway. Sedgley as well, we're on board with.
Pit exit, Matt. It's
going to be
very close on pit exit. Sharpie getting up to speed. There is Killian.
So that's not a bad pit stop then, is it?
He's gained a lot of time, Matt.
That is
stunning by Sharpie to get out there.
And
2 seconds. Loveless has jumped Wenzel as well.
I hope anyone in the chat didn't get the loud pop on game that I just got, because I mean, not as loud as it did. The game basically goes silent and then comes back to volume. It used to do that, but it would you'd get an explosion noise in your ears. Yeah. I'm so glad I've never had happen properly, because I would fully code brown. So I just don't want that happening on stream. But just a quick second, going to back to the chat. 5 minutes more of the pit window as well, but I think only Sedgley, Magato and Leg still on track. 1, 2 and 3 still need to pit. Everyone else has already been in. Let's get back to the chat quickly on stream. So yeah, Hydro saying here to support my favourite Mr. Fish, and admitting that he didn't know he was racing until he joined, which is yeah, he's like, hopefully we could not mention that. We don't talk about that. Yes, and Mr. Pike back down in 11th at the moment. So again, that can look like he's nearer the back and he's like one of the slowest. That mid pack is so packed. That is so stacked with pace. It's not even funny.
No, we've had the whole top 8 in qualifying were all right with each other. The whole, the top 6 were right. Been literally nose to tail for the whole of the first half an hour, and then everyone else has been nose to tail for the first half hour. So it's sort of been really sort of dependent on just where people are at the moment. And again, you can see now that sort of that top 8 has kind of spread out in terms of where they are on track now with the pit cycle, but yeah, I don't know, I have a feeling that might close up towards the end. Yeah, we have a funny way of having that last 10 minutes just suddenly everyone's concentrating back towards each other, just the tyre management. You forget that you've got to concentrate for an hour. That some people don't drive as well after 45 minutes as they have at the start. Some people are really superb, but just that's nothing, and they'll do 3-hour stints. Someone like Sharpie, again, he can do that very easily. Normally over the middle of the night, because he doesn't sleep anyway, so why the hell not? It's like, we'll give him the midnight shift. He's effectively like an honorary American for now. What he's done with us at any 24 hours.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. It's like even if he's not doing the really early one, he'll do the next one. So he's like, well, I'm going to be awake, so why not? But he's not going to struggle with that endurance. With some, you never know quite how they fare in an hour-long race. Say that concentration at the end of 50 minutes needs to be good.
Matt,
Yes.
How many positions did you say that Leg needed to be ahead of Ash?
Right, so let's have a look.
He's come out of the pits. He's come out of the pits at 12th is the time.
Okay, so 12th. Yeah, so he's.
It looked like he was...
Let's have a look. Class standings at the moment. Ash Gledel has an 11-point advantage over Martin Legg. So 11 points, say, so 15th would get 26 points because we have our first to 32nd because of the larger grid, but obviously quite a lot of them not making it, so that's just going to be how it is tonight. 15th will get you 26 points, so Lega needs more than 37, so Lega needs 9th. Anything closer?
Get on with it, Leg.
Yes, he knows where it is, and he will hear you, so yeah, chop chop, Leg, come on, sunshine. And don't text while you're racing. You do that all the time, and it's you're going to end up crashing and ruining your race. Don't be. Yeah, I'm pointing my finger and wagging at the screen, by the way, so don't do that.
Dan Sedgley, he is out front still. He's still got
yes.
Well, he's actually got about an 8.5 second lead.
He's also
over Killian at the moment.
He's also got about a minute 50 before he needs to pit. So he will
he'll probably come in. This time
you would imagine this time round.
Those guys that want to leave it as late as possible.
Yeah.
To try and maximise the time. He's out on track,
a bit of clear air as well.
He's been one of those guys that's had the pace, but he's just he made that mistake on lap. Well, he actually got involved in that issue on lap 1.
Yes.
So I think he's just been trying to use the pace he's got to try and make his way up through the cycle. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out actually.
No,
because he's not far off the back of Sebastian Busch. So
he's one of these drivers that is like he could be up the top, like one of the quickest. I think he's coming in now. Yeah, he's pinning across. There's he had very little choice. Just a quick look at the clock. He absolutely wouldn't have had any choice. So he's left that as long as he can, just trying to get a bit of clear air because he again hasn't had much all race, so probably just fancied a bit of a go round. So Killian Raiminen's lead at the moment, 4.6 seconds, so has stretched that back out. On the last lap, Killian was 1.15 seconds quicker than Kieran Sharp. So he is a second quicker than everyone else on track. Killian Raiminen's fastest lap was his previous lap, so he's on it again. He's come out of that pit. These outlaps have been amazing, just doing what we know he'll do. So he will quite comfortably keep the lead when he comes out. But you can see though, Kieran Sharp 4.6 seconds ahead of Stu McLeod. So they have stretched out quite dramatically. It's interesting how that happens after the pits. You think they'd be pretty much the same. But even, I'll tell you what, something that people undermine hugely, and I pointed it out on one of the GT4 warm-up races, was the pit entry and those that slow down way too early and how much time you lose by doing that. Especially on here, you can see the people who are able, again, Kieran Sharp, one of the best at doing it, just nailing that stop right before that line, getting slowed down right at the end, rather than being really safe and trundling in at pit limiter speed for, say, the last 50 metres, where you lose seconds just doing that. And that's where the best drivers, again, that's another place they find time. There's not loads of quick, close battles on track at the moment. We've got Brugnara and Pike, 8th and 9th. Fairly close, just under a second. Brugnara was caught up in that at the start, but has driven pretty well so far. There is quite a chunky gap between him and the car up the road, though. Pedicano is all behind them. Still the leading AM driver. The AM driver's 10th to 15th at the moment, so I'm quite proud of it. I think we did a decent job of the class, giving people the right class, because it generally seems to be pretty much spot on. So it does provide some good fighting that they can fight for class honours as well. It definitely keeps it interesting for everybody, I think. I enjoy watching those battles as well. There's plenty of quick drivers in that AM class as well, so it's by no means is it's quick and slow drivers. It's so a lot of the pro drivers are just insanely fast. We'll have to see how that fares. Martin Legg in 12th at the moment.
We need pro-am class as well, just class, have Killian in pro and then everyone else in pro-am.
Yes, probably.
We can have the Killian class and everyone else.
Really quick. Everyone
the two best of the rest.
Everyone else kind of quick. But you can see that track temperature come down a little bit more. 26 now, so another degree down. So that's 8 degrees cooler than the start of the race. So that will definitely have an impact. So it's even more impressive that Killian can do the pace he's doing 20 laps in, even though it's not a new set, just to have that switched on, frankly.
Yeah, and people think that 1 degree won't make much of a difference. It really does sometimes. Certain tracks, 1 degree's a temp can really make a lot of difference in terms of how the car feels and how the car handles. So, to still have the confidence that he's obviously got to be setting these laps is just mind-blowing sometimes.
I mean, it can be very dependent, like you say, especially on ACC, how your car is set up. Some weeks you might get the setup nailed and you feel really comfortable with it. Other weeks, you might be driving like a Ferrari F1 car. So it's you want it to be. That was an unnecessary dig. I apologise to Ferrari fans. I don't mean it, but I'll apologise anyways.
I was about to say. I think they kind of deserve it by supporting Ferrari at this point. Matt.
Yes, I'm not going to get into this because this will sound like a personal dig on Sharpie, so I'm not going to do that.
I mean, is it not?
Well, so yeah, a little bit. But no, it's they'll come good again, I'm sure. So yeah, but it's again, it's a setup thing. Once you've got a game that's not dependent on setups, but you know, it's like any, you know, in real world racing, it's if the car isn't set up quite right, you've got to really fight it. Some will be better at that than others. Some will like a car that they have to wrestle with. Some want it really planted, really comfortable and stable. So you do need to get that right from race to race, from track to track. Might struggle with some better than others. But yeah, it's been an interesting race so far. It's been interesting to see that. You've got 2 Porsches in the top 3, but it's quite a spread. You've got the Aston, Audi, Bentley, Lexus, Ferrari, top 7. So it's quite a spread.
This would be Kilian's second win in the series, I think, this season. That,
now,
if I remember correctly.
Let's have a quick
Because again, we've
look.
not really had any domination of any mark in the series at all, and I think Kilian's only won a single race.
Yeah, he's been very competitive. Now, without sort of open disclosure, the driver who's won at least one of those races isn't on the table now because he was retired, removed for reasons. But yeah, he has got 5 podiums in 5 races. To be fair to him, so 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and he won last week. So yeah, I mean, he's always been right up the front. We've got. So who did we have win? Let's actually have a look at the previous rounds. So
I actually should have the standings up.
Yeah,
round correct.
Yeah, round 2. So Mr. Harry Spears and Mr. TFC Frubo, Fordzilla driver, won that round. Not able to make it tonight, unfortunately. One of the drivers not able to make it this evening. Janos Venzel actually won round Zandvoort. One of the races I missed, unfortunately, was a bit of a crash fest. I mean, I suppose we can put it that way. It was
it was one of the less clean rounds. Still a good race, but one of the less.
Yes, there were plenty of fans in the crowd going home with parts of car in their boot. I think little front wing, you know, just bits and bobs, headlight. They're not going to need that anymore.
I'll take a wheel.
Yes, I know people who've got those. I've plenty of people who have got a wheel from a racetrack. Whole rear wing, lovely. We don't know where we're putting that. Argue with the wife whether you want that to go. You had Adam Stevens won round number 4, again not able to make it this evening, so that's a great drive from him. That was at Monza. And then, yeah, last week was Kilian Ryan Meenan. Just had a Kieran Sharp with Binyara, and then Sesley got 4th, Andrew Pike in 5th. So again, it's the variant in pace is very, very varied. Now, just have a quick look on the standings. Martin Legg will not be winning the AM Championship, no matter. You've
just noticed as well.
Yes, I have.
Mr. Matt.
Yes, drive through. So that'll just be a bit of abuse on the track limits. It's just gone wide a few too many times, unfortunately. It's a fine line. It is a very fine line, but obviously he knows he needs to push. So kind of fair play on that front. I kind of appreciate if he's going for it because he knows he needs 9th or 10th. He has to push and drive. You know, get further up the road, hope that they make mistakes so that he can gain a couple of positions. There's no point in him just trundling around in 12th because Ash physically, as long as Ash finishes, he can't lose more points than finishing in 15th. But yeah, driver unfortunately. Might see a few more of those. It is one of those tracks with a few runoffs and a few, you know, bits of track that you can use more than you need. And you can. There's some tracks are easier to get those penalties than others. Misano in the GT4s.
Misano being one of them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no. Sometimes it's just there's a couple of corners that everyone struggle with. So you've got Suzuka's got a common one where you get the double right, so where you go out wide on the left for that. Yeah, so it's I've seen quite a few drivers on ACC get a drive through because they've gone wide there too many times. Not necessarily on purpose. Just they're struggling with it a little bit, with clear and sharp.
Sort of slides out ever so slightly. It can just sort of just put you over, and it'll just the
enough.
game will go, oh, naughty.
I didn't mean to. I'm not. Yeah, I'm just not very good. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's different, but it's it's got ball actually with Andrew Pike. I think he's got in a good fight here with Bunyari. Yeah, so
I've been watching a battle here for the past about 5-10 minutes now. And
thanks for telling me. I'm joking.
It's been complete deadlock, sort of just been flows to tail, just been following each other. It seems that Pike's not been able to get past Brugnara, but you know, there's still 18 minutes left on the clock, so still plenty of time for that Aston to wrestle its way past that, past the second of the Lexuses.
Or Lexi.
Lexi.
That's going to be a reference most people won't get. But it's fascinating though. You do find 2 seconds. I think I just make sure. I thought my screen would pause there. All good on my front. Yeah, you do find. I mean, something like the Lexus, you can kind of jump in and drive with very limited setup changes. It is the jump in and go kind of car here.
Aston, really.
Yeah, they're probably the two. I think Lexus in the rain is pretty OP. I mean, it's like if you're going to be if you know the race is going to be wet, if you're on the Lexus, you are good to go.
You can just, you just grab a beer. Yeah, I want this. Thanks, guys.
I mean, that's drink driving. We do not condone that in OTL, clearly.
Of course not.
But
we do not condone drink driving.
Drink sim racing.
You could.
A lot of fun. Yeah, drink sim racing. Go for it. Much more fun. But it's. I mean, like I said, it's the pace. I know Andrew Putty said he finished 5th last week. Brugnara, rapidly quick. He's got podiums this championship. Wenzel's been superb. Saisley's been top 3 or 4 on a couple of occasions. Loveless sometimes just doesn't seem to get any luck. And he's always in and around the fight at the front. Joe Lacourse has just been pushing further forward. Stu McLeod, we know, has the pace. He just gets involved in a few too many little incidents, unfortunately. Often his fault, unfortunately, I do have to say. I have a joke with Stu on a few occasions about him and his best friend being the head steward. Yeah, we know he's got the pace, though. We know he's got the pace. If he doesn't make those mistakes, he'll be right up there for a championship, because he will consistently be in that top 4 or 5 cars. And then Kieran Sharp, who we know, I think, with Kieran, I think it's, as much as anything, it can be dependent on having a good qualifying. As long as he knows he's kind of near the front, he stays away from that stuff that goes on further back. When he's further back and he hasn't had a good quality, he seems to be the unlucky one who gets caught up in the stuff further back. I said the previous season, first 2-3 races were an absolute nightmare for him. Just a car magnet, unfortunately, in the worst ways, just finding incidents left, right and centre. But yeah, has pushed forward now, getting much better at his quali, because he's much more a race pace driver than he is qualifying. Self-admittedly, he'll say that. So just quick to say, yeah, Merchant. Yeah, this is the last race of this season. Yes, this is round number 6. It's the sounds on there as well. Yeah, they're. I think they're by far the best, personally. I mean, I haven't played or been in every sim. Haven't been in R Factor, for example. I know you are, Alex, much more au fait with R Factor. I don't know what it sounds like on there, but I think ACC's probably got a good claim for the title.
Content, especially the endurance stuff, the GTs and the LMP2s. They're actually all done by Kunos now. So
oh, fair enough.
We have very similar sounds, actually, for the Ferrari, the Aston.
Oh, there we go.
The BMW.
So if that's not recognition for them being good at it, I don't know what is, frankly. I like Stu McLeod's their team name there. Not fast, just furious. So that's fair enough.
I noticed that earlier.
I've seen his driving. I can attest. No, that's it's an angry man behind the wheel, and he just wants to catch up with Kieran. He's pushing pretty well at the moment. So last lap was 8/10 faster than Kieran in second. So if he does that again this lap, he's going to be right on his tail, and we can watch Kieran's lovely line down the straight again, right next to the pit wall. So I think it could be interesting. I think he's going to catch up. I don't think that was a mistake from Kieran at all. I think that is not far off race pace, very similar race pace to Joe Lacourte. Actually, they're all doing unbelievably close times. I think Kieran Sharp was a 45.828. 45.888 from Joe Lacourte, 45.846 from Loveless, 45.7 from Jonas Wenzel in 6th. They're all very, very similar lap times. Like I said, you can finish 2nd or 3rd in this championship, or finish 8th or 9th very, very easily. Just so close between them. Oh yeah, British track. Sorry, Merchant. Yeah, Dan, I saw you ask that earlier. British GT, I believe, is late this year, so I think it's late this year.
It's meant to be at the end, so I think somewhere like it's probably coming out September time. I think that's when I remember.
Yes.
But I'm not too sure.
So now that's made me.
We definitely haven't got long to wait though.
No, and they're going to be. I think that'll be amazing. I'm looking forward to that. So I believe it's Snetterton, Donington.
It'd be Snetterton, Donington,
Alton Park. Yes, I think that's it. I believe.
I think they're the only British GT tracks we don't.
Yeah, so it says
British tracks we don't have that are licensed. So.
Oh, actually, so saying that, so actually, yeah, Intercontinental. So just having a look at the roadmap quickly online for you, I believe. Might as well have a quick look here before we enter the last sort of 12 minutes of the race. So on the official roadmap, DLC release for the British GT pack is actually noted down as winter 2021. So that means this
Could be any
early
time
next
from
year.
Now to January.
Yeah, so I think they're thinking early next year now. GT4 pack DLC was fall 2020. So British GT pack. I think due to the pandemic and everything, I think they're moving further on. No, Xbox One will be getting it after. I think PC is now getting it at the same time as consoles. I think it's coming out on all platforms at the same time now because it's just taken longer for pandemic reasons and stuff. I might be wrong, but that's what the roadmap says in front of me at the moment.
Little bit of a tidbit, Matt. Just looking
Go for it.
Fight for second place between Kieran Sharp and Stu McLeod. Stu's getting very, very racy on the back of that Aston now. I've just seen him looking. Looking, having little peeks, trying to just push Sharp into a mistake. He's trying to sort of do what Killian did with him. Sorry. And just look, he's just looking to the inside, just putting his nose there, just saying, "Look, I'm here. You know I'm here now." And I think he's going to be setting up a move soon, potentially into turn 1 even, because he's been really, really strong through this final sector. So, very, very late on the brakes, but that Porsche just seems to stop so well. It looks like that Porsche's just hitting a brick wall when you hit the brakes. It stops so ungodly fast.
It's I think we're saying the 8/10 second gain that McLeod was making on Kieran, going to another 7/10 last lap. I mean, if Kieran can keep him behind for 12 minutes, I will be surprised. He is very close. Let's watch. I think Kieran will be steering right very quickly here. I think Kieran will be coming across pretty early here and trying to close the door. And he will be affected by knowing that Stu is one of those drivers that has gone for moves of a fairly ambitious nature on occasions. He will brake fairly late and send it. Whether I don't know, Stu. Some weeks more than others he'll go for stuff where you're like, I'm not sure that was on. And other weeks he'll be more cautious. So it depends which Stu we get tonight. He'll admit that as well. Yes, depends which side.
I think, but he's gone slightly wide on the marbles, Matt.
Depends which side the bed he got out of this morning, or how many shandies he's had this evening, or Scotch, Or he is a Scot, of course. Just not fast, as he said, just furious. So it'll be half a second. It's going to be. Again, another 10 minutes of him defending. These two comfortably should be second and third now, as long as they don't have a large incident. Killian Raikkonen is 17.9 seconds clear up the road, just in a different galaxy entirely. Yep. So I'm sorry, Killian, you're not going to get a huge amount of camera time, but I'll try and watch you here and there. But not really much going on around you, Sunshine. So unfortunately, can't go and watch there. Got a lovely camera shot of a hill there. Cheers for that, cameraman. So on to Joe LaCour in fourth now. Well, so they've all dropped back. The gap's getting a little bit larger.
Stu! Big moment. Very, very big moment. Lock the rears up very, very hard. And Sharpie managed to somehow anticipate that because he was very wide into the hairpin. And that was before Stu had even hit the brakes. He seemed to sort of run himself wider. So I think Sharpie knew what was going to happen, or Stu said over the radio that something was wrong. Because that was a big moment. The rear royally locked, and he was trying to
just seeing that on replay.
With that sort of sliding through the gravel trap.
Just watch that on replay. That does look like it looks almost like he's hit the brakes. It's wiggled on him, and actually, to be fair to me, it looks like very early he's gone, well, I'm not making this, and he has just got well out of the way. I think he's done that on occasion, mistimed the getting out of the way and smashed into the car. That time he got past. It almost looks like he's floored it to get out of the way quicker. Do you know what I mean? To get actually straight past. Which like to be.
I can respect him, man.
I mean, it might be luck more than judgment. How he's done, I don't know. But it looked like he very much got that. It might have been lucky that that's the way his car twitched, and when he lost it, it went that way. But like I said, though, they're comfortably. They're in a good position. He's still third, and he's a comfortable third, 2.7 seconds clear. His tyres aren't going to have particularly enjoyed that trip across the track sideways and into a gravel trap. But yeah, he should be fairly comfortable for a podium. So Killian now with a 20.2 second lead. Just silly. Kieran Sharp still second. He should be safe in that position now as well. He's some way ahead of Stu. Joe LaCour fourth. Rob Lovelace fifth. He's getting all fairly stretched out. Lovelace in the bend. He's got Janos Venzel just under 2 seconds behind him, so not a massive gap there. Brugnara and Pike. Oh, you can see actually Pike has got past. So Pike up into 8th. Brugnara now down to 9th.
Oh, I wouldn't curse it, Matt, because
no, not very
Pike
long.
Just got very loose.
Yeah, I'm saying that. I think Brugnara having a look. Pike going for the defensive line. Brugnara maybe looking at the cutback. Going for that switchback out of the exit of the corner. I think he might have just got about alongside both very respectful drivers, leaving each other the room there. Nope, yeah, Bruniara has got alongside. Pike just wants to turn in, just slightly misjudges it, a little tap on the corner, but nothing too bad. They're both very respectful drivers. Nothing really too bad happening there. Yeah, just as it happens, you know, racing is racing. A little tap here or there isn't you can't always avoid. But yeah, these are probably this will be the closest battle on track, I'm sure, towards the end. Unless Stu then really reels Kieran Sharp in for the last 7.5 minutes. Would be a good effort if he can manage that. That might be quite difficult to do, but no, he'll be. I think Kieran Sharp will be fairly happy with his race so far. He's not had. It's not been a boring race for Kieran. He's not had nothing to do. I mean, there's some races you drive around and there's a car 12 seconds in front and a car 8 seconds behind, and that's how it stays all race. He's not had one of them. So at least he can't complain about being bored. But yeah, Stu 2.6, so actually he's going in a little bit, but yeah, he's going to have to really push now. He's only got, there'll be like 4 laps left, so yeah, good luck if he can catch up enough to make a fight of that. So let's see other fights. So Pelicano not too far behind Andrew Pike as well, in to have that lead in AM drivers. That's a good showing this evening. Clearly the best of the AM class around Barcelona. That Ferrari clearly faring him well. He's had a few good showings in this season. He's one of those drivers who's you get those tough ones to judge where they're on the cusp of the two classes. They're not quite sure where they should go. But he's had some good races. He started off the season with a 26th in round number 1, so that has harmed him quite badly. Apart from that, he had a 19th in the race after that, and he's had a 14th. He came 9th, so a top 10 at Monza, 16th last week at Brands Hatch. But yeah, on for 10th at the moment, and even if you put some of the faster drivers who haven't been able to make it tonight back in the grid, he wouldn't lose that many positions. So yeah, it's been a very decent showing. Now look like it might be a 3-car train very shortly as well. I'm saying that. Just have a quick look at the standings up further up. Stu McLeod is up back to 2.2 seconds back from Kieran. So, oh no, saying that, I've just jinxed myself. It's down to 1.3. Okay, so that's going to be Kieran's either had an absolute mare last lap. He's 146.2 from Kieran. Next driver back.
Mistake crept in.
Next driver back who has done a lap slower than that is, I think, Bruniara back in 8th, and he's been fighting with Pike for the last 55 minutes, I think.
Those
so
three are now nose to tail, Matt. And
yes, go back on those.
Far off the back of this train either, so this is going to be a fight that I think is going to be going on for the final 5 minutes of this race. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Pelicano gets by Pike or Brugnada, because again, you know, he's been very solid, and as you said, he's had some really good showings, and I think maybe today might be another one. He's obviously, as you said, in the top 10 at the moment, so I think a top 7, top 8 as he runs slightly deep through turn 1. I think top 8 might be sort of on the cards for him. Yeah, and this has been a solid drive. Again, these mid-pack fights can be superb fun to watch and superb to race in as well. There's some great fighting that goes on before and after the pits. It's very interesting how you get completely different battles going on pre and post that pit stop window. Oh, evening Thunder, evening Ronnie Thunder. I'll be doing all right, man. Yeah, I saw what you put earlier on, so not a problem. Appreciate that, dude. You're looking out for the racing. But hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well, man. So yeah, Pelicano half a second, 3/10 between Pike and Bruniara, and then actually we can look back from Pelicano's car. So a little bit of a gap, 2.1 back to Magato. So that might be a push. Magato's had a really solid season as well this year. He's had a few mistakes in him in the previous season number 3, and had a few penalties here and there, but it's actually really pushed on this season really well, and I think we can be proud of the progress he's made. We definitely have to go back up to 3rd though, because that fight is very much a battle all over again. 4 minutes, and that gap is under half a second, and Sharpie is probably sick of the sight of him by this point. He's sick of seeing headlights in his rearview.
Yeah, just like, oh great, another car.
He's seen headlights in his mirrors for the past 56 minutes.
Yes. So, again, can't complain of being bored.
Well, no, definitely, indeed. The girls Stu, a 45.1 that last time by. Sharpie, a 45.9. So, again, another 0.8 of a second. And now, at Porsche, has got a nice wide Aston Martin rear end in front of him. And, well, I would be surprised if we see Stu McLeod looking to make a move in the very near future. He seems to be so much more confident sort of in these colder temperatures. I think it suits the Porsche slightly more due to where the engine is placed and how the traction works. Looks to the inside, not going to work there. But of course, remember, in colder and wetter temperatures, that Porsche comes alive with the fact that it is that rear engine right over the rear axle, the weight's all over the rear tyres. That is what gives it so much grip. The Aston's not too shabby itself, but it just, that Porsche does fly in cooler temps. It's still 26 degrees here. We're at 8 o'clock local time. I can see Stu just not even really squirming about, but he's getting very, very interested indeed, Matt.
Yeah, no, he's just showing his nose, just to try and force. You can see sometimes he'll do that, and then Kieran will go just slightly wide at the next corner, and that's all he's doing that for, just trying to force the issue, trying to push that mistake out of Kieran, maybe not have to make the pass himself, which is perfectly valid tactics. You see a lot of drivers will do that rather than go for the move. They'll just move the car about. You saw Killian doing it a great deal earlier and superbly worked it as well. You can see here those Stu's going to have to make a move soon. He's only got 2 minutes and 20 seconds, so we are on. Trying to work out when the penultimate lap is because the next car is so far up the track. Oh yeah,
if
he's been pushed a bit wide. If the
rear end had stayed any more, it actually stayed in check, he might have had that through turn 2, Matt. Because I just saw the rear end of that car just sort of drifting out, and it just ruined any chance of a run he had through turns 2 and 3.
It's a tough corner as well, isn't it? Tough corner to go too wide round as well. So you can start too wide. Invariably, one of you has to then get out of it before 2 and 3. But I mean, with the pace they've had over the last 5 minutes, Stu doesn't really need to push too hard here. He just needs to be doing what he's been doing the last 10 minutes. So 5-10 minutes, he's clearly got that pace over Kieran. He just needs to be a little bit patient. Obviously, he's only got this maybe lap after, one more after. Actually, quickly go and see where Killian is. Yeah, so it will, yes.
Laps he's been doing 44.
So he's not even near the end, yes.
When Killian comes across the line, Matt.
So he's just about to start his final lap. We'll actually, I don't know why I asked, because the pit crew will tell us in a second when he starts his final lap. True. I should remember these things, but you know, it's been a while.
Yeah, final
there
lap
we go.
For race leader.
So yeah, only 3 tenths. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be worried about gap or pace at the moment. It's just, can I keep that car behind me? And
can I get ahead of the car that's stuck?
Yeah, well, I mean, Kieran will know where Stu's going to look as well. Where he had that mistake earlier on into that hairpin, especially with that Porsche being able to brake so late. You know, how brave does Kieran go with the defending? He doesn't want to get wiped out. How ambitious is Stu going to be to try and make a move? Is he going to try and get it down the inside? I don't think so. I think Kieran's going to...
Last chance saloon, so...
He does move it back across. I think... No, Stu might still show. Is he going to go for something? No, I don't think so. But it's just all he's going to do is hamper himself by pushing too hard here. So
that. Oh, no, but Sharpie's at the rear end gets loose on the Aston as well, so it's brought him right back into it here. And it seems that Stu's having a bit of a wide line. I think he's trying to get the run out on the...
Oh, has he just lost you, Alex, there? Right, I'll carry on until Alex comes back with us. I don't know if he's just had disconnection with his internet or something, or his mic. We'll hopefully gain him back in a minute. Yeah, that's good, very close between the two. Sharpie's just going to have to keep really focused here, just hitting apex after apex. Try and not brake too late. Or you keep looking at Detox thinking. Detox being Stu McLeod, sorry, now and again your username accidentally comes out. Stu McLeod, yeah, in third, still just needs to wait for that opportunity. He doesn't want to push too hard at every corner. He'll just cause himself more problems than he... and really just take away any chance at possibly trying to overtake. Let's just see if Alex joins us again in the last part of this race. Just come over to Killian, I mean, and just catching him, crossing the line, winning by about 25 seconds there, or Sharp and McLeod so close. So they've got about 15 seconds left. They are coming around into the last part of the lap. Is McLeod even going to have an opportunity? I don't think he is. So Sharp's just got to concentrate on getting this final left, right, and then the final corner spot, and he hits apex beautifully. And I think he might have just held on here. Will that slipstream be enough? I think Sharpie will want to move right there. No, he's going to stay on the outside. That's superb driving from Kieran there to hold on to that position. Well done to him. Well done, Kieran and Stu. That's some solid driving from both of you there. Superbly done. Joe LaCour did not finish back too far back from those two at all in the end, actually. Rob Lovelace coming home in 5th. Jonas Fenzel in 6th. A very close mid-pack. They weren't that far back from those guys on the podium. Yeah, some superb driving. Unbelievable standards. Dan Stacey come around the final corner. Tippy-toeing. Not quite sure why, but we've got Martin Legg, Sebastian Bush and Gledel have finished further back. We only got 14 now, so I'm not quite sure who we lost right at the end. Red Bunyada coming around in 8th. He's got Pike behind him. Those two. Pike seems to be very good at finding those people to battle with and just staying on them all race. Andrew Pike coming home just behind him. Well done. Killian Ramirez saying sorry, not sure what for. I'm not sure if it was just for beating everybody. But there we go. So let's look at the timetable. Let's look at the timings for the race. So yeah, 31 seconds, that victory in the end. Oh yes, so we did lose Alex. Unfortunately, typical. We lost him literally 30 seconds from the end, as is the way, but unfortunate. But let's see if he gets back in before the race is over, just to say, so we can say thanks to him. Because I think it was very enjoyable having him in here as well. I'm sure we can get him in here more often too. You can see him race on the Fridays as well. So look at that, Sharp only beating McLeod to second spot by 0.104 of a second. So very close between the two of them. I think McLeod probably had the sheer pace, but superb driving from Sharp to keep him behind. Takes another solid podium with that second position. Joe LaCour, 4th place. Again, only, 1.1 back from McLeod, so was not far off a podium position, which is a shame. Drove superbly, just wasn't able to make it stick, wasn't able to take advantage of it. Oh, we've got some pit lane shenanigans going on. Pit lane donuts. Fair play to him if you can do it. If you can park it like that, then fair play. Yeah, so that solid race from all three of them. Good podium position from Ryan Mean and Sharp and McLeod, so well done to all three of you. LaCour only just missing out there by 1.1 seconds. 5.7 further back to Rob Lovelace. Then we've got Jonas Fenzel 4.1 further back then. Dan Sedgley in 7th, 16 seconds further behind. 11 seconds back to Mattia Brugnara in 8th. Andrew Pike only just behind him, so 0.342 between Brugnara and Pike in the end. Those two fighting for it looked like most of the race. There's some great racing earlier on between them as well. You are a tit, Lego, yes. Oh, are we talking about racing? Sorry, you're not just talking in general. Sorry, apologies. I joke. Appreciate that, Thunder. Appreciate that. You enjoy it, Hydro? Yeah, it's good. It opens up to just loads of options. So it'll come. It'll come. Don't worry. I wouldn't worry about it too much. We'll still be here. I can promise you that. So you can take your time, get into that PC. But yeah, Pike Pelicano first over the line of the AM class. Magato in 11th, it's just behind him. So he finishes ahead. We wondered whether he would catch up to the back of that train. It was only 1.5 in the end, back from Pelicano. So he did close the gap a little bit, but neither of them were far back from Pike in 9th, but still good showing from all of them. Loic Martin in 12th. And the Audi, Martin Legg in 13th after having that drive through, so he lost maybe a couple of positions there. Could have been around Loic Martin. So a little bit further forward. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Dan. Cheers, man. Yeah, Loic Martin. Martin Legg 13th. Sebastian Busch in 14th spot in the Nissan. Only just being beaten by Martin Legg, so good race from Sebastian there. We had Ash Gledo, unfortunately, with that off earlier on. Did catch up to the back of Sebastian Busch, but only 0.9 behind in the end, wasn't quite able to beat him. Cormac Ryan Meelan, we retired on lap 9, and we had Saw Kovacic dropping out early on. I think was fearful, having issues with the car setup and fearful of just being a bit of a danger on track, I think I saw him say, which is fair enough. Always amazing is Mr. Thunder, Ronnie Thunder. So always just wants the best for the cars on track, and will take the hit personally if it means better racing for everybody else. So that's very, very good of him. He's always been consistently amazing at that. So yeah, some good racing there tonight. Hope you enjoyed the stream. It's a shame that we lost Alex in the last 30 seconds of the race, but I'll have to try and catch him in a minute and see if he's still alive. Hopefully that was just an internet issue. He's still not back online, so yeah, we'll have to I'll say thanks to him later on. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. We'll get more of a, when there being two of us, we'll get more used to it the more we do it. So it's I don't mind doing it on my own, but it's certainly fun when you're doing it with a second commentator. And thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm Killian Ryan, fully deserved championship there. Absolutely walks that last race, so just builds that gap even further and takes the overall title ahead of his nearest contender, which was Kieran Sharp. So well done, Killian. Superb driving. And unlucky to Kieran, but Kieran does consolidate second position in the championship. So we'll have more announcements soon as for future leagues and future events. Next stream in terms of, for me, will be possibly, I think it might be Thursday. Yes, it'll be next Thursday, GT4 for the ACC GT4 League. That is at Spa. That is going to be so fascinating. That is well worth tuning in for. The different car strengths There are a couple, say the KTM for example, that is going to get murdered around that track because it just hasn't got the straight line speed.
Green line. Give it all you got.
Ah, damn it, I forgot to save the replay again. Fiddlesticks. Oh well. Yeah, so Spa-Francorchamps for the GT4s on Thursday. And then next Sunday we'll see if we have any casual events on. Might be a week off, I think probably a week off. Give Sharpie a bit of rest time in between all the adminning and setting up the leagues that Sharpie does such an unbelievable job on. So thank you ever so much, Sharpie, for all the work you've done setting up these leagues, doing all of the server work I know you do, getting everything sorted for everybody, all the work you do on the spreadsheets for all the leagues and everything. It's not taken for granted in the slightest. So thank you very much for Sharpie for getting this league on and allowing so many drivers to have such a great time. As I said, we'll have future announcements soon on the website and in the Discord. So if you want to get involved, otlracing.com/Discord. Come say hi, get involved, say what your platform and game of choices are. Just get involved and say hi. If not, if you want to just tune in and watch the streams, much appreciate that too. If I can produce a bit of entertainment for you and you like watching our races, that is awesome too. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this evening. Thanks so much as always. And yeah, I will see you again on Thursday for the GT4s on ACC, where you will see my co-commentator from tonight, Mr. Alex Skinner, racing in that GT4 championship. So we can see if he can walk the walk after having talked the talk. So yeah, we can give him hell on stream for that. So yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. I will catch you again on Thursday. Until then, stay safe, take care, and I will see you next time.